Hi everyone, it's me, Lori Ann Spagna, here with you again. And for more than 20 years, I've been helping humans and animals to align with their true divine source and awaken the true divinity within each and every one of us through the practices of animal communication, telepathy, intuitive guidance, channeled guidance, and energy healing, aligning with source. Today I want to chat with you just briefly about the topic of shadow workers. So shadow workers is an interesting conversation because actually most of us are aligning with that aspect of us that are lightworkers, starseeds, way showers, change agents, and we like those terms to define ourselves, but we don't usually use the term shadow worker. So let's define shadow worker. For those of us who are working with the light, we also need to understand that aspect of us that are shadow workers. So shadow workers are typically the people who are still, there's two ways to define shadow workers. And I think it really helps us to understand this and the role of shadow workers in our journey, as well as the role of shadow workers in the ascension process. Nobody talks about shadow workers, so I thought it'd be really helpful. So I became aware of the shadow workers in my life more recently after this period of time where the shadow was being cleared out, but it was through the shadow workers of my experience, of my light experience. So here's how I define the two kinds of shadow workers. One are the shadow workers who show up in your life, and we typically define them as third dimensional or even fourth dimensional consciousness. In other words, they're still working in the shadows. They carry a very big shadow of their own. And actually, they haven't cleared out their own shadow yet. They haven't done the inner work within themselves yet to reveal their own shadow. So they carry a very big shadow. And when you're in their experience or in an experience with them, you're typically going to be experiencing shadow aspects. What does that mean? Shadow aspects, heavy, dense, dross, suffering, pain, shadow aspects, things in the reality that you don't necessarily enjoy or like or love, or you need to project love on. You might feel you need to project love onto them or onto those aspects as a way to heal or resolve them. But these people are carrying a shadow and they're anchored very heavily, usually in third dimensional consciousness, or they're just coming into fourth dimensional consciousness. They might even have some degree of consciousness about a fifth dimensional reality or fifth dimensional state of being, but they haven't cleared out their own shadow. So they're working with these aspects of themselves on an unconscious level. What are those things? I want, I need. They're sucking, pulling, draining energy from you. You might, in your experience with them, from a place of duality, experience things like greed or neediness or pain or judgment or coercion or separation of some kind, a push-pull relationship. They're definitely lacking in some basic fundamental principles like how to say sorry or how to apologize or how to take responsibility for their role or how to honor their commitments or their agreements. Basic laws and rules of integrity that are not laws in the physical world, but more like fifth dimensional reality laws, right? Being in their integrity, honoring their agreements, honoring their commitments, being kind, compassionate, understanding one of the basic fundamental principles in relationship, like if someone's upset, you soothe them. You say, hey, I'm sorry you're feeling that way, even if it's not your fault and you're not necessarily owning it. So these shadow workers haven't learned those basic fundamental principles, and they're not acting in accordance with fifth dimensional living yet. So they're carrying this big shadow, and when you interact with them, you as a light worker either feel the need to somehow heal or resolve or teach them, or else they are going to somehow show you the shadow. Now, you as a light worker have an option at that point to either work with the shadow, heal or resolve, teach, engage, or disengage with love, right? That's a shadow worker. They're still in third dimensional construct, but ultimately their role is to teach you as a light worker, a way shower, a change agent, how to be the light that you are, how to hold and maintain your light and be the light that you truly are and embody the light and the love of who you truly are. And even though in the engagement practices with these shadow workers, you don't actually enjoy your experience with them. In fact, upon reflection, you'll often realize, like, what was I doing in that relationship, right? But ultimately, your light shines even greater, even brighter as a result of having dealt with them, because you start to realize the contrast of shadow and light. So that's one kind of shadow worker. The other kind of shadow worker is the true light worker, who's willing to do the deep dives, to go within and to explore our own shadow, whether it's with ourselves or with another, where we're willing to take responsibility for our part. We're willing to look within at those aspects of us that are still in the shadows, that are still in our own unconscious, so that as we explore that shadow aspect of ourself, we reveal the light within. And we come into that greatness of our light, of our love, of our joy, of our happiness, because we're clearing out that shadow within ourselves. And when we're willing to look at our own shadow aspect, we're willing to know that deep within our unconscious, there are hidden things, secret and even to ourselves, that really we haven't been in touch with. We're willing to reveal that from within ourselves and to accept that shadow aspect of ourselves as part of ourselves. So that is a shadow worker too. And each and every one of us has both aspects, because ultimately the whole purpose of working with the shadow is to reveal the love and the joy from within. So I just want to invite you to embrace your shadow and embrace the shadow workers around you, for one day they too will reveal the light within them. That ultimately it's all aspect of one source, one divine source that's within and around each and every one of us. And I just want to thank you and invite you to share this video, and head over to LoriSpagna.com as well, where you can get tons of great, amazing, fun, fabulous, juicy, free living gifts for you and for your animals too. Okay, until next time, lots of love, you guys. Bye.